Natalie Wells brushed a strand of blonde hair from her face as she stared out the large viewing window of Harmony 7 space station. The stars looked the same as they did from Earth, but she wasn't looking at them. She was watching the auxiliary ambassador storm away from the council chamber, his four arms gesturing wildly as he spoke to his aides. "They don't respect us, do they?" Frank Donovan said, stepping up beside her. His Earth Defense Force uniform was crisp and neat, but his face showed tiredness. 32 years in the Galactic Council, and we're still treated like children, Natalie said. They want our technology and our ideas, but they don't want our opinions. The council meeting had gone badly. When the Auxiliary Empire threatened the human colony on Proxima Centauri IV, the council had voted 15-3 to allow it. A minor settlement. They called it. Just 5,000 human lives. "What will you tell the president?" Frank asked. "The truth. The Elani, the Vasi, the Mekran. All the old species, they're scared of us. We solve problems too quickly. We adapt too fast. We don't follow their rules about how species should develop." Frank's communicator beeped. He looked down, and his face hardened. "What is it?" Natalie asked. "Orders from Earth. President Mitchell says I'm to stand down. The Auxiliary can have the colony. But those are our people." Frank looked at her, his blue eyes cold as ice. "I know." 3 days later, Natalie sat in her office watching a recording. It showed 3 Earth Defense Force ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel near Proxima Centauri IV. Captain Frank Donovan had disobeyed orders. The ships landed, took all the colonists aboard, and left before the auxiliary fleet arrived. Her door slid open. The Elani High Speaker entered, his tall, thin body moving gracefully despite his anger. "Ambassador Wells, your Captain Donovan has broken council law. The auxiliary demand justice." Natalie stood up. "High Speaker, those were human citizens. The council voted. Your government agreed. Now there will be consequences." The next day, the council chamber was full. All 28 species were present. The auxiliary ambassador pointed at Natalie with 2 of his 4 arms. "Humans are dangerous," he said. "They do not respect council authority. Either they surrender Captain Donovan for trial, or Earth must leave the council." Natalie looked at the faces around her. Most wouldn't meet her eyes. She pressed a button on her desk. "I wish to contact my government before responding." 2 hours later, she returned. President Derek Mitchell appeared on the large screen behind her. His face was calm, but his eyes showed resolve. "Members of the Galactic Council," he said, "for 32 years, humanity has tried to be a good partner. We have shared medicine that has saved billions of your people. We have offered fair trade. We have fought beside you against the void creatures of the Outer Rim." He paused. "But today you ask us to abandon our own people. You ask us to punish a hero who saved 5,000 innocent lives. This is not the first time the Council has treated humans unfairly. It is simply the last time." The chamber grew very quiet. "Earth does not surrender Captain Donovan. Instead, we withdraw from the Galactic Council, effective immediately. All human citizens and ships will leave Council space within 6 months." Gasps and shouts filled the room. The Elani High Speaker stood up. "President Mitchell, this is most unwise. No species has ever left the Council. The consequences are yours to bear," Mitchell said. "Humanity will find its own path among the stars." The screen went dark. Natalie gathered her data pads as the chamber erupted in chaos. She walked out with her head high, ignoring the angry shouts and surprised whispers. Outside, she found Frank waiting. "They're calling you a criminal," she said. He shrugged. "And what are they calling you?" "The ambassador who lost Earth." She smiled slightly. "I think I prefer your title." "What now?" Frank asked as they walked toward the human docking bay. Natalie looked at the council species rushing about in panic. "Now we go home, Captain, and we prepare for whatever comes next." Neither of them realized that what would come next was the unraveling of the entire galactic order. piece by fragile piece. 6 months had passed since Earth's dramatic exit from the Galactic Council. Natalie Wells stood in the command center of the transport ship Freedom, watching the last human settlement on Rigel 6 being dismantled. Families loaded their belongings onto shuttles while Earth Defense Force soldiers kept watch. "That's the 47th colony we've moved this month," said her assistant, a young man named Peter Kim. "Only 12 more to go." Natalie nodded, feeling the weight of her new job as evacuation coordinator. "Any problems with the locals?" "No. The Mecran have been helpful, actually. I think they miss us already." A beep from her communicator interrupted them. The face of Dr. Olivia Martinez appeared on the screen. "Ambassador Wells, do you have a moment?" "I'm not an ambassador anymore, Olivia. Just call me Natalie." Dr. Martinez looked tired. Her dark hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and her lab on Vossiprime was clearly in the process of being packed up. "I've made a decision," Olivia said. "I'm staying in council space." Natalie frowned. "That's not safe. Anti-human feelings are growing." "I know, but my husband can't leave. Ritharan physiology can't survive in Earth gravity, and we've built an important research center here." She paused. "Plus, someone needs to document what happens after we're gone." Natalie understood. Olivia had married a Ritharan scientist 3 years ago. The tall, willowy aliens were brilliant biochemists, but physically fragile. "Be careful. Check in weekly." After the call ended, Natalie walked to the observation deck. From here, she could see the last shuttles leaving the planet. 6 months of non-stop evacuation had tested humanity's organizational skills to their limits. Moving millions of people, along with their belongings, businesses, and hopes, had been an enormous task. On the other side of human space, Captain Frank Donovan, the man whose actions had triggered Earth's departure, patrolled the new border in his ship, the Defiant. 3 council vessels hovered just beyond scanner range, watching the humans. "They're scanning us again," said his first officer, Lisa Rodriguez. "Third time today." Frank nodded. "They're nervous. Have you noticed something strange about those ships?" Lisa looked at the scanner data. "Now that you mention it, that's a Xalari cruiser, an Elani research vessel, and a Mecran transport. They normally don't work together." "Exactly. Species that argued constantly in the council are suddenly cooperating. They're united by one thing: fear of what humans might do next." Frank had noticed other changes too. Council ships that once passed freely through this sector now took longer routes to avoid human space. Trade had nearly stopped. The galaxy was holding its breath. Back on Earth, President Mitchell met with his cabinet in the White House. The walls showed holographic displays of human space, a much smaller territory than they had access to as council members, but fully under human control. "The Proxima colonists have been resettled on Mars," said the housing secretary. "They're grateful, but it's been difficult." The economy minister spoke next. "We've lost 40% of our trading partners. Many industries are struggling." Mitchell listened quietly, then stood up. 2 generations ago, humanity didn't even know aliens existed. We'll adapt. We always do." After the meeting, he received a private message from Dr. Martinez. Her weekly report showed concerning trends. Council medical facilities were struggling without human technicians to maintain equipment. Trade routes had become unstable without human ships. Cultural exchange programs had collapsed. "The Council didn't realize how much they depended on us," Mitchell told his chief of staff, Jane Cooper. "They thought they were doing us a favor by letting us join. They never understood that we were holding things together." Jane nodded. "Do you regret your decision?" Mitchell looked at the latest images from the border. Council ships were gathering in larger numbers. "No, but I think they're beginning to regret theirs." Neither of them realized that the small cracks appearing in the Council's unity would soon become chasms, or that the carefully balanced galactic order was already beginning to crumble. 2 years had passed since humanity left the Galactic Council. Commander Alicia Summers guided her small stealth ship through the debris field, near what used to be a busy trading post in the Orient sector. Now it was abandoned, with only broken ships and floating cargo containers remaining. "Record everything," she told her team. Earth's intelligence service needed to know what was happening in former Council space. Alicia had been on 5 secret missions beyond the human borders. Each time, she found more signs of trouble. This mission showed the worst damage yet. "Look at this," said her sensor officer, pointing to the screen. "Energy readings from a battle. This happened less than a week ago." Alicia frowned. "Between who?" "Looks like Solari weapons against Mechran shields. They were allies in the Council." The ship moved silently through the wreckage. They saw the broken hull of a Mechran trading vessel and the drifting bodies of its crew. "The Council's falling apart," Alicia said quietly. "Without humans to balance the different groups, the old rivalries are coming back." On Earth, Kyle Bennett walked across the stage to accept the Global Innovation Award. At 32, he was the youngest person ever to receive the honor. His company, Bennett Communications, had created a new faster-than-light communication system that didn't use the old Council relay network. "When we left the Council, we lost access to their communication system," Kyle said in his speech. "They thought we would be isolated and alone. Instead, we built something better." President Mitchell shook Kyle's hand afterward. "Your system is saving us. Without it, our colonies would be cut off from each other." Kyle nodded. "And now other species want to buy it. I've had secret messages from 12 non-Council worlds asking for our technology." "Interesting," Mitchell said. "They're looking to us for help. That's a big change." Dr. Olivia Martinez sent her weekly report from her hidden lab on Vossi Prime. She had to be careful now. Humans were no longer welcome in Council space, and she worked in secret with her Ritharan husband. "The Council held an emergency meeting yesterday," she reported. "The economy is collapsing in 3 sectors. Resource wars have broken out between the Solari and the Mechran. The medical systems we helped build are failing without human maintenance." She paused, looking worried. "Most concerning is that the Solari Empire has begun taking over smaller worlds that used to be protected by Council agreements. Without humans there, the balance of power is gone." Captain Frank Donovan, now Admiral Donovan, commanded Earth's defense fleet. His ships patrolled the borders of human space, which now included 27 star systems. "Admiral, we're picking up unusual activity," said his communications officer. "Multiple Council ships dropping out of FTL travel near the Ta City boundary." Frank watched the screens carefully. Defensive positions, but no aggressive moves. "Let's see what they want." A transmission came through. The face of an Alani diplomat appeared. "Admiral Donovan, we request a meeting with your government. The Council needs to discuss humanity's return." Frank kept his face neutral. "I'll pass your message to Earth. But I should warn you, we're not interested in coming back under the old terms." The Alani looked uncomfortable. The terms could be negotiated. "The situation has become difficult since your departure." After the transmission ended, Frank called Earth. President Mitchell listened to the report with interest. "They're getting desperate," Frank said. "From what we can see, at least 3 major trade routes have collapsed. Their economy is in trouble, and smaller species are suffering." Mitchell nodded. "Dr. Martinez reports the same. The question is, do we help them?" Senator Gloria Patel, Mitchell's main political rival, joined the call. "We should, not by rejoining the Council, but by engaging with friendly species. Isolation isn't working." "Isolation is keeping us safe," Mitchell argued. "For now," Gloria said. "But what happens when the Solari finish conquering the smaller worlds and turn their eyes to us? We need allies." The debate would divide human society for months to come. Meanwhile, out in the darkness between stars, the careful balance of galactic civilization continued to unravel faster than anyone had predicted. 5 years had passed since humanity left the Council. Admiral Frank Donovan stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Guardian, watching the stars. A message had just arrived from a nearby system. "Play it again," he ordered. The screen showed a damaged ship. Its hull was scorched and broken. An alien with pale blue skin spoke urgently. "This is the refugee vessel Light of Morning. We are Vasi civilians fleeing the destruction of our colony world. The XLR attacked without warning. We have children aboard. Please help us. Any world that will take us in." The message ended with static. Frank looked at his first officer. "How many people on that ship?" "About 300, sir, mostly families." Frank knew the rules. Earth's policy was clear. No involvement in council affairs, no matter what. But these were Vasi. They had always been peaceful. They had even voted to support humans in the final council meeting. "Plot an intercept course," Frank said, "and inform Earth that we are providing humanitarian aid." On Earth, President Mitchell faced the Senate. The debate was heated. "The policy of isolation has protected us for 5 years," Mitchell said. "We have rebuilt our economy. Our colonies are thriving. Why risk everything now?" Senator Gloria Patel stood up. Her voice was firm. "Because the galaxy is burning, Mr. President. The Council has officially split into 3 competing groups. The Traditionalist Accord, the Prosperity Sphere, and the Security Coalition are now at war with each other, and innocent people are dying." The Senate chamber erupted in shouts. Some senators supported Mitchell's caution. Others backed Patel's call for action. "We can't save everyone," Mitchell said. "No," Patel replied. "But we can't pretend this isn't happening either. The Solari are using weapons based on human designs they copied before we left. We have some responsibility." In her hidden lab, Dr. Olivia Martinez was packing quickly. Her husband helped load their research onto a small ship. "We have to get this to Earth," she said. "They need to know what the Solari are planning." For 5 years, Olivia had watched the council fall apart. First came arguments, then trade disputes, now open warfare between former allies. The Solari Empire had grown powerful by taking advantage of the chaos. "They've built something terrible," her husband said. "A weapon that can destroy an entire planet. And they used human science to do it." Olivia nodded grimly. "That's why we have to warn Earth. The XLR won't stop with Council worlds." Their ship slipped away in the night, heading for the border of human space. At Bennett Communications headquarters in Boston, Kyle Bennett watched multiple news feeds from across the galaxy. His communication network now reached hundreds of worlds, including many that weren't part of any faction. "It's getting worse," he told his team. "The Traditionalists and the Prosperity Sphere just destroyed each other's fleets in the Cygnus sector. Millions dead." His assistant looked worried. "And the Security Coalition, growing stronger. The XLR now control 20 systems that used to be independent. They're using fear to make smaller species join them." Kyle's computer chimed. A message had arrived from Dr. Martinez. He read it and immediately called the president. "Sir, you need to see this. The XLR have built a planet-killer weapon, and they're planning to test it soon." In orbit around Europa, Admiral Donovan watched as the Vasi refugees were settled in temporary homes. These weren't the first refugees he had rescued, and he knew they wouldn't be the last. His communication officer called him. "Sir, urgent message from Earth. The President wants to speak with you." Frank took the call in his private quarters. President Mitchell looked older, tired. "Admiral, I've been outvoted. The Senate has passed a resolution to provide limited aid to friendly species beyond our borders. Senator Patel convinced enough senators that we can't stay isolated forever." Frank nodded. "What are my orders, sir?" "Establish safe corridors for refugees. Protect any ships that request our help. But do not engage in offensive operations." After the call ended, Frank looked out at the stars again. The galaxy he had known all his life was changing, falling into chaos. And whether humanity wanted the role or not, they were being pulled back into the middle of it. 7 years had passed since humanity left the Council. The three council factions were now in open warfare. President Gloria Patel stood in the White House Situation Room, watching as reports came in from Earth's outermost defense station. "The damage is extensive," said the station commander. "A battle between traditionalist and security coalition forces spilled over into our space. 15 of our people are dead." Gloria's face was grim. "This can't continue. They're fighting right on our doorstep now." She had won the election against Mitchell by promising a careful, limited engagement with the galaxy. Now events were forcing her hand. "Admiral Donovan," she said to the screen where Frank's face appeared. "Your assessment." Frank looked tired. Years of border patrols and refugee rescues had taken their toll. "The situation is deteriorating faster than we expected. The Xelari now control the security coalition completely. The other factions are losing ground, and innocent populations are caught in the middle." Gloria nodded. "I'm authorizing expanded operations. Establish safe corridors for refugees. Protect neutral worlds that request our help. We need to contain this chaos before it engulfs us too." Dr. Olivia Martinez had returned to Earth with her Ritharan husband. They lived in a special habitat adjusted to his physical needs. Today, they were meeting with Kyle Bennett at his company headquarters. "We need a way to spread information to worlds under Xelari control," Olivia said. "People there don't know what's happening elsewhere in the galaxy." Kyle nodded. "I think we can help. My communication network reaches most systems now. We can create an underground information service." Olivia showed him her research. "We've noticed something strange. Many species have started adopting human customs and values. They see our independence as a model for survival." "Really?" Kyle was surprised. "Yes, some have even started practicing human religions or using human legal systems. They believe humanity's ability to stand alone might save them too." Kyle thought about this. "We could use the network to share knowledge, not just news, but human ideas about freedom and cooperation." On the edge of what used to be Council space, Admiral Donovan's fleet had become a symbol of protection. His ships escorted refugee convoys and delivered supplies to worlds caught in the fighting. Today, his flagship received an unusual signal. It came on an old frequency that hadn't been used in years. "Admiral," the communication officer called. "Someone called the architect is trying to contact you. The signal is being bounced through multiple systems to hide its origin." Frank frowned. "Put it through to my quarters." The screen showed a shadowy figure. From the long neck and delicate features, Frank could tell it was an Elani, one of the oldest species in the galaxy. "Admiral Donovan, I am Lore Master Vix Calmer. Once, I was a historian for the Council. Now I am something of a rebel." "What do you want with me?" Frank asked. "To share the truth. The chaos you see was inevitable. It has happened before. The Elani leadership has hidden much from the galaxy, and from humanity." Frank leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "Humans were deliberately kept weak in the Council because the Elani feared you. You have a special role in the galaxy's history, one my people tried to prevent." "What role?" Calmer looked over his shoulder nervously. "I cannot say more this way. It isn't safe. I am sending coordinates. Bring Dr. Martinez. She will understand the evidence." The transmission ended. Frank stared at the coordinates that appeared on his screen. They pointed to a system far from any known civilization, marked as forbidden in old Council records. He immediately contacted Earth. President Patel listened to his report with growing concern. "This could be a trap," she said. "Or it could explain why the galaxy fell apart when we left," Frank replied. After a long silence, Patel nodded. "Take a small team. Dr. Martinez has clearance to join you. But be careful, Admiral. We still don't know if humanity is meant to be the galaxy's savior, or its destroyer," Frank finished quietly. As his ship prepared for the mission, Frank watched the stars outside his window. For 7 years, humanity had tried to stay apart from galactic affairs. Now they were being pulled back in by forces they didn't fully understand. The coming days would determine whether humans would be remembered as the species that broke the galaxy, or the ones who saved it. Admiral Frank Donovan's ship, the Guardian, dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the coordinates Kalmar had sent. Dr. Olivia Martinez stood beside him on the bridge, watching the main screen. "There's nothing here," said the science officer. "Just an old dead planet." Frank frowned. "Scan deeper. Look for anything artificial." After a few minutes, the officer spoke again. "There's something beneath the surface. A structure of some kind. It's huge." "Any defenses?" Frank asked. "None that we can detect. But the structure is very old. At least 50,000 years, maybe older." Frank turned to Olivia. "Ready for a field trip, Doctor?" Olivia nodded, her eyes bright with curiosity. "I've been waiting for this my whole life." Their shuttle landed on the planet's dusty surface. Frank led a small team, including Olivia, into a narrow cave that sensors had identified. After walking for 10 minutes, they found a metal door covered in strange symbols. "Can you read this?" Frank asked Olivia. She studied the markings. "Some of it. My husband taught me old Ilani script. This says, 'Repository of Truth,' and the cycle continues." The door opened suddenly. Lore Master Kalmar stood inside, his tall Ilani form illuminated by soft blue lights. "Welcome, humans," he said. "Few of your kind have ever seen this place." They followed him into a vast chamber filled with artifacts, data screens, and what looked like frozen bodies in clear containers. "What is this place?" Olivia asked, her voice hushed. "The true history of our galaxy," Kalmar replied. "What the Ilani High Council has hidden for 50,000 years." He activated a large screen. Images appeared showing beings that looked remarkably like humans, but wearing strange clothing. "These are not humans," Kalmar said, "or perhaps they are early humans, taken from Earth long ago. We call them the Mediators. They existed 50,000 years ago, and served a role very similar to what humans were beginning to serve in the Galactic Council." "What role?" Frank asked. "Peacekeepers, problem solvers, innovators. They had a unique psychological balance that made them perfect mediators between species. The ancient galaxy was stable because of them." Olivia moved closer to the screen. "What happened to them?" Kalmar's face showed shame. "My ancestors destroyed them. The ancient Ilani feared being replaced as the dominant species. They engineered a virus that targeted only the mediators. An entire species wiped out because of fear." Frank's expression hardened. "And you think we're somehow related to these mediators? Your DNA is almost identical. It's why humans adapt so quickly to different environments. It's why you solve problems in ways other species cannot. It's why the Council needed you, and why the Ilani leaders feared you." Olivia was examining other data screens. "This shows the collapse of the previous galactic civilization after the mediators died. It's the same pattern we're seeing now." Meanwhile, on Earth, President Patel faced the Ilani ambassador in the Oval Office. She held a data pad showing Olivia's preliminary findings from the repository. "You knew," Patel said. "Your people deliberately kept humans from having real power in the Council because you knew what we were." The Ilani ambassador's skin paled. "Madam President, these are ancient matters." "No," Patel cut him off. "These are current matters. Your people's fear caused this galaxy-wide war. Millions are dying because you couldn't accept humans as equals." The ambassador was silent for a moment. "What the Lore Master has shown you is true. Humans have a rare psychological makeup. You compete fiercely, yet cooperate brilliantly. You fight among yourselves, yet unite instantly against outside threats. You question everything, even your own beliefs. These traits make you natural mediators in a galaxy of diverse species, and the Council was structured to keep us marginalized." "Yes," the ambassador admitted. "The Ilani elders feared being replaced as the wisest species. We were wrong." At that moment, an urgent message came in. Kyle Bennett's face appeared on the screen. Madam President, the Exilari have used their planet-killer weapon against a prosperity sphere world. Billions dead. I've broadcast the footage through our network. The whole galaxy is seeing what happened. As the horrific images played, Patel looked at the Elani ambassador. It's too late for secrets now, she said. The question is, what do we do next? 10 years after humanity left the Galactic Council, a historic meeting took place on Luna, Earth's moon. Representatives from 17 former Council species gathered in the newly built Harmony Dome. President Gloria Patel stood at the center, welcoming them. Today we begin a new chapter in galactic history, she said. The old council failed because it was built on secrets and fear. The galactic accord we create today will be different. All species will have equal voice. All will be protected. None will stand above the others. Dr. Olivia Martinez sat with her Ritharan husband, watching the proceedings. Kyle Bennett was beside them, his communication network broadcasting the event to hundreds of worlds. Did you ever imagine this when you stayed behind in council space? Kyle asked Olivia. She shook her head. I just wanted to document what happened. I never thought we'd be building something entirely new. The Elani representative rose to speak. Once the most powerful species in the galaxy, they now asked to join as equals. We humbly acknowledge our role in the current crisis, the Elani said. For too long, we feared humanity's potential instead of embracing it. We ask forgiveness and the chance to work together toward a better future. After the public session, President Patel met privately with the Elani elders. Their formal apology for manipulating galactic history was recorded and would be shared with all member worlds. Meanwhile, Admiral Donovan led the largest multi-species fleet ever assembled. Ships from 12 worlds, under human coordination, surrounded the Exilari homeworld. The Exilari fleet prepared for battle. They expect us to destroy them, Frank said to his officers. That's what they would do in our position. Instead, Frank implemented Operation Restraint. The Allied ships targeted only military installations and weapons platforms. No civilian areas were hit. The precise strikes disabled the Exilari's ability to make war while causing minimal casualties. When it was over, Frank sent a message to the Exilari leadership. You have a choice. Join the Accord as a restricted member, with limits on your military development, or face isolation from all member worlds. But know this, no more worlds will die. No more innocent people will suffer for your ambitions. The Exilari Emperor, facing pressure from his own people, who had seen the mercy shown by the human-led forces, reluctantly agreed. Back on Earth, Lore Master Kalmar met with historians at the newly established Accord Historical Institute. The building housed artifacts from the ancient repository, now available for all species to study. The cycle has been broken, Kalmar told them. For the first time in our galaxy's history, we have acknowledged our past mistakes instead of hiding them. Kyle Bennett stood on the balcony of his company's headquarters, looking at the night sky. The stars seemed brighter somehow. His assistant joined him. The Accord Communication Network is fully operational, she said. All 52 member worlds are connected. Kyle nodded. And the non-member worlds. 23 have applied for membership. Even some of the Exilari colonies want to join separately from their homeworld. A celebration was held in Washington, D.C. to mark the 10th anniversary of humanity's withdrawal from the Council. What had seemed like a disaster at the time was now seen as the necessary collapse of a flawed system. Dr. Martinez spoke to the gathered crowd. Sometimes systems must break before they can be rebuilt properly. The Galactic Council kept the peace through fear and secrets. It was bound to fail eventually. President Patel unveiled a memorial to those lost in what was now called the Faction War. The memorial bore a simple inscription, "From Chaos, Harmony." Later that evening, Admiral Donovan stood with Natalie Wells, the former ambassador whose departure from the Council had started everything. They watched children playing nearby, human children alongside young Vasi, Ritharan, and even a few Elani. Do you ever regret it? Nathalie asked. Saving those colonists. Starting all this. Frank watched the children. Never. We didn't break the galaxy, Nathalie. We just showed it a better way to work. Above them, ships from a dozen worlds moved peacefully through Earth's space, not as visitors or guests, but as partners in the new galactic accord, equals in a harmony that had been made possible only after the old order fell into chaos.